How many of you have heard our next guest talk before at ChaserCon or somewhere else? Mr. Tim Marshall. Doesn't he do a fantastic job? Oh, my goodness. Everybody just looks so much forward to his talk. I do, too. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Tim Marshall.
Thank you very much. All right there. You know, I did come from Vegas last week. And I'm working on a new song. I want to tell you about this new song I got. It's called The Ballad to David Hoadley. Ready? I once knew a man named David Hoadley, who used to chase all so boldly, till one day his car blew a tire, scared him to death, thought he'd retire, but that didn't happen to David Hoadley. All right, well, let's get the show on the road, shall we? Did you like that? There you go. That's right, Jeff. Very good. Thank you kindly, kindly, kindly. Norman, Oklahoma. All right. The king of the storm chasing community. Here we are. So, what did you think? Jabba the Hutt or something? No, that wasn't going to happen. All right, well, we're going to get this show started. I got a lot to go. I would sing some more because I know you probably like my singing, but I think let's go through a few chase cases first. All right. So, the title of my talk, if I can advance this, is 2015, a rock and roll chase year. It was probably a pretty stormy year. I mean, I didn't see too much early on. Then May came, had some great success, and then the fall, pretty stale. And then, my gosh, this winter was incredible. November and December saw tornadoes for the first time in either month. So here's where my chases were for the past year. 26 of them. Almost all of them in Texas, and the reason for that is because I'm based there, not in Vegas. 31 days of storm chasing, that's a whole month. Imagine taking a month every year and going storm chasing. That's what I do. Traveled about 10,000 miles. I saw 12 tornadoes, not too bad. My longest chase, well, it was a feudal chase all the way up to Broadus, Montana. They have a good pizza place there. And but that's a long way to go for pizza. And then my shortest one was just 50 miles from my house or so. Most of the tornadoes, of course, are rain-wrapped and they're at night. Saw tornadoes in November and December. A great year other than that. Well, Roger Hill knows how to take photos. And let me tell you, I've been looking all around for a Roger Hill pill. Yeah, Roger Hill pill. So I can take that and take photographs like Roger Hill does. Phenomenal. How many of you chased May 16, 2015. Let's see your hands shake. Wow. Better than half of you. Very good. An excellent, excellent day. All right, here's the situation. And we're going to have a little more of an American theme here. I get excited, so does Hillary, about seeing higher dew points moving on in here. 60-plus dew points are moving into western Oklahoma at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I targeted Sayre, Oklahoma, figuring that, hey, you know, the dry line's moving out. There's a nice outflow boundary there in northeastern Texas Panhandle coming on in. This sets the stage for some great forcing, plus the upper air was coming in later on. Hey, fantastic. All right, moisture level. Okay, wrong finger, Marco. But this is the moisture level coming on in. You can see 850 millibars. Pretty good moisture surge coming up through Midland. And look at that winds there. Pretty strong winds coming on up through there. Not bad. 700 millibars. Look at that. Deep trough in the west. That's worth smiling about, huh? Good thumbs up there. And then how about the upper level winds? Upper level winds, very important because they ventilate the updraft. So this is an excellent way to go ahead and get those nice anvils streaming on out. Way, way up there. Yes, well, George doesn't know what to make of it, but hey, just follow the blue. The blue is good. The blue is good. I'd like to see all those high winds way, way up top. So let's look at the winds aloft, shall we? Winds aloft are very important. They help ventilate the storms, and here we have very strong winds aloft. This is the 12Z Amarillo sounding. Not much of a cap, though, but we do have pretty strong winds aloft. We like to see that. Then, of course, whatever SPC does, well, let's look at that. I can't chase the whole moderate risk area. I've got to be particular where I'm going to chase. I prefer the southern end because I am a Texas-based dryline vintage storm chaser. So let's do that. Hey, this looks really good. Anytime you see hatch, it's got to be good, right? So we're going to go ahead and target that area. So here are the pros and cons for the day, being a May 16th forecast. There was an ample surface moisture and a dry line out west. These were players. So was the outflow boundary. There was an upper low in the northern Rockies with strong mid and upper level jets. Better winds aloft in Texas Panhandle and northwest Oklahoma. So I'm going to kind of play that area more than further north. Morning clouds, though, but they're going to burn off later in the day. The cap is not too strong, and that's always important, have not a very strong cap. Sometimes I like to see a cap that is formidable, that'll break around 3 or 4. But there are some cons here, and that is, you know, this is a questionable storm mode given all this power coming into the west. I figure there's going to be a lot of forcing. We'll get line lifting along that dry line to get a squall line. Too many storms, too many targets, too many seeding storms because we were getting unidirectional flow. Even though you have strong winds aloft, it doesn't necessarily mean that's a good thing because storms start seeding one another if you don't have any kind of diffluence aloft. So the target's still Sayre. All right, so there, point to it. This is the 3 o'clock. Do you notice anything here? Not too much going on at 3 o'clock. And one of the reasons why is because low clouds were hugging in here. So you didn't see the burning off. We didn't see the overturning convection. The atmosphere wasn't doing anything at 3 o'clock. It was going to be a late show. That's what this really kind of telltale sign, reading into it. You can be very strong about it, Bernie, but this is what you do like to see, 0 to 6. Don't get a heart attack over it, but it certainly is something that we like to see working in towards the latter part of the day. And then, yeah, SCP here, the supercell composite parameter, not going and doing very much, looks very much like if you're looking for a bullseye, you're not going to find it, okay? And if you're looking at the SIG TORs, you're not going to find much there either. This is the thing. It's 3 o'clock. You've got to make a decision. You've got to know where to go. You just can't sit around and wait for bullseyes to pop up on SPC's site. And the early boxes come out. 1250 for a T-box. I don't like to see that. I like to see it more like in 3 or 4. But it's because of that power and dynamics. And the dry line was starting to fire out west. Then you have all this elevated activity in northwest Oklahoma extending up into Kansas. That's something to keep an eye on too, because just because it's elevated doesn't mean it's no good. It means it's no good now, but it could be something later on. And then later boxes at 4, look at what the dry line did. It fired on up in the eastern Texas Panhandle, and then you had all these supercells on down from there. So I'll use the radar system. This is an archive product I get from NOAA. You can get it online. It's at the NCDC site. But here is a town called Headley. You know where that's at? It's on Route 287. It's northwest of Memphis. And I know Memphis. Tornado warning was issued at the time. That's where I was. I was in Memphis at the time. My chase partner, Carson Eads. Is he around here? Carson Eads. Stand up. There he is. Over there. Okay, Carson. He's my right-hand man. Out. We stopped. He started the gas pump, started refueling, and a tornado warning is being issued right away. So fantastic. So we raced up. You got to watch out for that Memphis cop. He's pretty tough. He's there. Raced on up. Hook echo. Closing in fast on Headley. Boom. 220. We're right there. What's going on? This hook looks pretty good. Nice open hook. Looks like more like a classic supercell. Should be able to see a tornado there, right? Wasn't very easy to see. Circulation across the highway, a lot of rain wrapping going on. Dustin Wilcox, is he here today, Dustin? Great job trying to get one there out of the rain. Sam, is he here? All right. So we were right there. One thing I want to show you is we've seen some of these images about radial velocity. But radial velocity is a decreasing function. As you move away from the radar, that beam is getting higher and higher. And here we are at Headley, and we're looking at Amarillo radar. So by that time, that beam is thousands and thousands of feet up. We're not seeing low-level circulation here. If you were dependent only on your little mobile app that you have and you're looking for circulation, you're not going to see much at this range. That's radar. It samples conic sections. That beam, even though the beam is straight, the Earth is curved, and so you get this elevated beam as you go on out further and further away. Now, one neat little calculator that's online is at the Warning Decision Training Branch there, that URL there. You can calculate the height of the beam if you wish. For those of you who are nerds like me, go ahead and calculate the height of the beam at the range, because radar cannot see what's happening at low elevations at Headley. And what I'm seeing on that diagram there, that output, is not low level at all. It's up there thousands and thousands of feet. So we go back to reflectivity. So there's this hook. It's a nice hail core. You see another cell back to the southwest. Well, we decided to follow it. This is early in the day now. Look at this. 2:27, we just seen a tornado, and now we're trying to catch back up to it. And we go through the rain wrapping. I don't recommend that, but the tornado, very dirty, dusty thing, crosses the highway northeast of Headley. We kept with it, but the storm was out racing us. You see other cells are developing, and we're at that dot there, and we're moving now east and then back north to try to get up towards Shamrock. There we caught up to it again. So they had 3 tornadoes with this system, but they were rain wrapped, especially towards the end there. So now the next play is, well, okay, since this is lined out, what are we going to do next? We're not going to quit. It's 3 o'clock. There has to be other cells, maybe further east. So let's go further east. But what was concerning me about it was the number of storms that was going up. There were storms, like 4 of them, supercells in North Texas, and they were moving across the Red River. So which side of the Red River do you want to be at? Do you want to be on the south side of the Red River? Do you want to be on the north side of the Red River? It makes a big difference here. So we decided to keep south of the Red River. We went to Quanah and 424, beautiful base. We're looking southwest here, and we see this nice ragged lowering moving on in. This is the first of 4 cells coming on up. All right, coming on up from Chillicothe, and again, our location right there. It's Carson and I right there with the open hook. Looks more impressive on radar, actually. FDR, that's the Frederick radar. And you see where Elmer's at up there, and you see where Altus is at. Those are in Oklahoma. So it's right across the border. So we had to maneuver and get in a proper place, and there's a town called Odell, Texas. It's right south of the border there, and that's where we camped. We watched this storm. That's quite the hook we're seeing, and this is the storm at that time. You know, kind of a nice flank on it, anvil, pretty solid, not too bad. Okay, we decided we were going to try to race and beat this across the Red River. HP supercell near Odell. You can see now it's descending reflectivity core happened, so we get this big, huge burst of precip on the back side. Action area is just to the left of Carson there, and a little beaver tail coming in from the opposite side, moving right to left. Now you see all this, look how fat that hook is. What does that mean when you see a big fat hook? That's a lot of precip loading right in there. Again, even though you're pretty close to the radar, you get some noise, but you're close enough, though, that you will be able to pick up pretty strong circulation. I mean, we're only about, 20, 30 nautical miles there. It's not too far. And in rain wrap situations, you really need to look at that. All right, so here we are looking at the nose of the hook, 536. You see anything on, yeah, you see a couplet forming there. Sure enough, it wraps back in the figure 6 with a little donut back there. Okay. Look at that hail core. Was there any hail with that storm? You bet you there was hail. You don't want to be in the back end of that hook. And it moves on in. So our view looking to the north was this. Rain wrapped tornado. Roger Hill's view looking south, this. That's why I want a Roger Hill pill, okay? I'm in the wrong place. All right, nice rain-wrapped tornado. He gets a nice, beautiful tornado there, and there's the track. You know, it started in Oklahoma, then decided to go to Texas, and then went back into Oklahoma. It's a tri-state tornado. Yeah, you know about that. Now, Sam did some outstanding work. Now, I'm telling you, structure shots are amazing out there. And I really appreciate those of you who take them and post them so I can use them in talks like this. Thank you. I appreciate it. But I do credit you, that's right. Sam has some great, great shots. There were so many chasers. I saw just about every single one of you out there. It was amazing the number of chasers. Hey, look, there's Weed Trimmer. My view of the HP supercell west of Electra. Yeah, nice. I love those panorama settings on cameras. They're really great. Keep taking those panoramas. They really show a lot. Look at the spiral updraft and the beaver tail coming on in. There are 3 other storms besides that one at Elmer, you know, that produced tornadoes, but they were very weak or hardly there. How many of you are using the additional apps on Radar Scope or others, correlation coefficient, differential reflectivity? Anybody? Let's see how many of you are using those additional apps. Great, good set of you. This has definitely added value in storm chasing. You know, again, I was talking about the limitations on radio velocity. Well, correlation coefficient has similar limitations, but it is another player here. And it works like this. Correlation coefficient of 1 indicates objects of the same shape and size, so small drops, small hailstones, round things falling, you get 1. But the low correlation coefficient indicates a mixture of particles, and they could be debris, and that's what we're looking for. Or as I call it, a blue hole on this diagram. So here we are, we're looking at 525. We're going to go through the same radar output here, and you can see what's happening. Now you see there's a lot of blue here. Okay, because you're out there in the clear air. So a lot of this is noise. It's having a tough time distinguishing between noise and what is just debris. But you can start to pick it up here at 531, can you not? Look at that. Like a donut hole there. Really well pronounced as it moves just east of Elmer and moves on up. And of course, we'll look at a little bit of IR imagery. Watch this wave coming out of the Rockies. Bam, the first initiation occurs in the Texas Panhandle, and then from there on, we get back building towards the south, the Elmer cell, and then we have other cells all the way down into central Texas, even in the southwest Texas. Okay, so Great forecasting by SPC. Thank you again. And, of course, Ron approves. Now, the summary, we'll get 2 thumbs up because we had 2 storms that went tornadic. Caught the first tornadic storm that initially developed west of my target area, west of Sayre, but it moved towards it, so I have a consolation prize, if you will. But I then dropped south. Be willing to be flexible on your target. Don't be afraid to change your target. But again, you're running up against time in the day. Drop south and east to follow the second tornadic storm that moved in to Oklahoma eventually. Okay, hey, it's time for Storm Chaser Jeopardy. This is a continuing type of game show that we've been having in all these ChaserCons. You know how it is. I give you the answer, and you tell me the question. All right, so obviously, the category is Elvis for 100, and the answer is Graceland. Has to be in the form of a question. What is Elvis's home? Wrong. What is the Texas Panhandle? That's my Graceland. You know, I suppose also western Oklahoma and eastern Colorado and western Kansas can also apply, but that's my Graceland. All right, for those of you, stormtrack.org is alive. All right, has an app. That's right, it has an app. Mr. Miller knows all about that. If you need any more information, go to stormtrack.org. Okay, on to Canadian Texas tornadoes. May 27, 2015. How many of you were out there? Canadian. Wow. Tons of you were out there. I saw you all. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's look at this. This is why I wanted to target Canadian. And this was at 10 in the morning. I'm in Dallas, Texas. The only fly in the ointment was I had a meeting to go to in Amarillo at 1 o'clock, and I didn't know what time it would end. So I would have to drive from Dallas to get up to Amarillo, attend this meeting, and then hopefully bite my nails off in time to get out of Amarillo to get up to my target of Canadian. Would the storm develop? Would it wait for me? Big questions. Dryland was out there. Look at those 62 plus dew points. This is the classic spring situation that I live for. Right here. Target Canadian. Target Canadian. Don was a little late at picking that up, but he did eventually pick it up. Okay, water. Yes, 850 millibar is water. Got to use lots of water. Water is good. It is the moisture that feeds these thunderstorms. And look at the amount of packing of those. Yes, water coming on up. Then we have, holy cow, what's going on here at 700? It looks like an implosion going on. Where are the winds? Am I going to see nothing in the eastern Texas Panhandle? 15 knots? Are you kidding me? And look at out west further. Look at Albuquerque. Very weak winds. Nothing is out there. Go on up a little higher, 500. Just 25 knots? Is that all? At 500 millibars. So you stay home, right? You don't go storm chasing. You say, although you got some nice low-level shear maybe, the upper air stinks. Stay home. This is totally different than the case that we were thinking about spring. Winds aloft. All right, let's talk about winds aloft. These are really strong winds. Anytime you see one of those flags, you know you've had strong winds. Look at the cap. Yes, the cap. Formidable cap right here, and this is in Oklahoma City, and this is in Dodge City. What's it in Canadian? We don't know. We don't know. This is what we're going to have to do is kind of get out there and see what happens. There's no answer here. We don't have a balloon sounding in Canadian. But SPC did have an enhanced risk area all the way from, central Kansas back down in the eastern Texas Panhandle. I like that. I like a marginal spring situation. I don't have all those heavy dynamics coming in. This is marginal, and if the storms do go up, you're almost looking at them as a scale accident to happen for a tornado to occur. All right, so here's 5%. Sure, I mean, it's okay. It's nothing really too spectacular, but, it'll do. So here's the pros and cons. I mean, there's going to be dryline out there. Will there be some dryline magic? This is the kind of day that you would have something like the magic we all talk about. And having chased out of Lubbock for almost 4 decades, I can tell you, I like the magic. You can get an isolated storm right around sunset, no other competing storms, and it'll stay right where it's at, anchor, if you will. We call it an anchor storm, right? Deep moisture off the cap rock, ample 300 millibar winds, but everything else pretty weak, and a strong cap. So weak mid-level flow, 15 knots at 700, 25 knots at 500, yuck. Cap may be too strong. Target Canadian. All right, here are the tornado watch boxes coming out, 225, so that's not too bad. And then coming on further south to the Texas, Oklahoma Panhandle. All right, so now let's look at moisture feeding, storm feeding Cape. Storms love Cape, and they eat a lot of it. So we go ahead. Oh, so does Joe. Yeah, Chris Christie also eats a lot too. But, we know that. But the 4,000 joules per kilogram is out there. And there we go, East Texas Panhandle. That's not too bad at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. Sig Tor. Pretty confusing. Got to have a pencil for this one. I mean, where are you going to go? Are you going to rely on Sig Tor bullseyes? Forget it. What about SCP? I mean, yeah, this is really a headache, isn't it, Mr. Cruz? Yeah. How about that equation? That's pretty good headache too there, right? See? It depends on some Cape, depends on storm relative helicity, depends on some winds, yes. Have to have all that. Well, what would you do here? 0 to 3 kilometers SRH, forget it. Stay home. Read a book. Watch live streaming of tornado chasers in the Texas Panhandle. Get sunburns. Well, here's what happens. All right. Where's the dot? That's where I'm at. I'm in Amarillo. Okay? I just left Amarillo. I'm up to about Panhandle right now on 60, and I see this convection happening on the radar. My first view at 3:30 was this. I'm going, oh my gosh, am I going to be making this on time? My meeting went to 3. I didn't leave Amarillo till 3 o'clock. I'm roaring up there. Thank goodness there's not a lot of people there on the road because they were all up in Canadian. That's the beauty of chasing late and behind. So would this storm wait for me? I mean, if that went 40 miles an hour up toward Glacier and Higgins and up into Woodward, I would have never have seen this thing. But it anchored. And look at it just sitting there, kind of going through almost like a multi-cell, supercell process. Other cells developing and dying, but staying pretty much. And here I am, charging north at 427. Already there was a tornado warning issue because there was a brief funnel there. And I was like, would it wait for me? So this is my first glimpse at 430, north of Canadian. Get in position. I first went west because I thought, well, maybe the storm will backfill, but it didn't. I came back to the east. Again, look at radial velocity. You can't see much. You're 75 nautical miles from Amarillo. You use the radar beam calculator, that's at 9,300 feet. That's way up there. You're not going to see low-level rotation on a radial velocity. So you have to go with your gut. Like, oh, this looks pretty nice. I have this rainy RFD passing me at 449. I'm going to just stay here right on 60. Set up my tripod and just kind of wait. So there's me. There's the hook. Nice position. Then this starts to happen. The RFD passes me. I'm now getting west-southwest winds. Not really cool, but they're kind of almost warm, if you will. It's like, okay, got west winds, game over, right? No. Game is not over when you have west winds. Watch what's happening. These low clouds are streaming right to left. They're going south. We're looking west. Scud, right? Bad stuff, right? Scud is good. Despite what you have heard, Scud is good. Too much Scud is bad. But you just want just enough Scud. cool air, that's what it signifies. Updrafts will also take cool air, and that's what this did. So I'm there. It looks like a pretty blobby, and there's another cell to the back of it. What's it going to do? Oh my gosh, it looks like a real messy situation going on there. 511, but boom! Nice contrast. Tornado pops out. See all the way up. The RFD wraps around it. The clear slot right over my head. This thing is just sitting right to the west of me, doing all kinds of structure and close-up shots going through its. And there's the echo. You can see not a well-defined supercell hook, but there's a hook in there, and there looks like other hooks in there too, maybe other cells coming in. So there was some sort of mesoscale incident going on here. The storm was anchored, and there's a whole bunch of reasons for why it was anchored. And then there's other cells that are coming up, maybe an existing outflow boundary. At its maximum, I mean, holy cow, look at that. I get all shook up. 517. Look at that. 518. Now it starts to shrink. 519. Now there's a couple of different hooks there, but I'm in that forward one, and there's 3 other cells developing now south of Canadian. So it's in this rope stage, and I thought, okay, is this going to do it again? I love these rope stages because it really gets really hairy. The wall cloud then jumps over to the east. A new one's forming, and tremendous rotation. I had a funnel there. I thought we were going to have a big tornado just east of 60. But that didn't happen, perhaps because of the other cells developing, seeding into the storm. So there I am up there, and I'm figuring, okay, maybe this is not the greatest place to be. I should try drop south, especially when you see that at 5:30. So I dropped south a little bit, got a hilltop there just south of Canadian, and watched the evolution go on. Another cell coming on in, look at that. Moving on up, and sure enough, there are other tornadoes that developed, and then the whole mess. You can see this big mess. It still tried. It was anchored despite all the other cells smashing into it. It's remained anchored there. Really interesting morphology, how this happened. Which one on it? Okay, and then looking at the IR. Look at the tiny little disturbance coming through here, and you get this kind of cell developing in the eastern Texas panel. Also, all you need is that little wave to set things off. Hey, great chase. Time to have a drink. Get your steak dinner. All right. Definitely my best chase of the season. Saw 4 tornadoes on a nearly stationary supercell. Worked out perfectly. Drove from Dallas to Amarillo, attended a meeting 1 to 3, left a meeting 3 o'clock, drove right up to Canadian. Boom, tornado, 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 tornado. Go home. Once again, it's time for Storm Chase Jeopardy! All right. Now, I must tell you that the questions do get harder as you go further along on the Jeopardy game. This is Elvis for 200. The answer is Memphis. What's the question? Okay, close. What is the home of the Cyclones in Memphis, Texas? That's right, again, thinking Elvis, but thinking Chaser. Elvis Chaser. Well, maybe I should go out chasing in this costume. Who knows? All right, now on to the final case of the day. Who chased November 16, 2015? All right, fantastic. So we got some night owls back there. They're all in the back of the room in the dark, see? Yeah. I like that. Roger Hill, why do I take video? He takes pictures. All my pictures at night come out blurry, so I got to figure out. I'm going to go with this guy and find out what his secret is. All right. All right, here's the target. Hey, it's Childress once again. Another great setup. This looks similar now. The surface looks similar to the other 2 chase cases. You're welcome. And other 2 chase cases. And here we have, again, though, something different in the atmosphere. It's not just the surface. It's what's happening aloft. So here, moisture. This is the moisture level. Low-level jet working on in here. The low is way, way up there in the northwest. I don't care where the low is out west. I really don't. As long as you have a wave working in, you have forcing, you've got going ahead and having winds aloft coming in. That's the lifeblood of storms that I want to chase. So I don't care where the low is up there, where the big circle is. Here we are going up further, 700 millibars, stronger winds. Look at how size of that. That's a pretty large for November. This looks like a spring-type situation, doesn't it? Tremendous winds coming up at 500. No stinking 15, 25 knots like you had on the Canadian Texas Day. You have some real military-style, formidable winds aloft. What an air force that is, huh? Yeah, it doesn't matter where you point. Anywhere you point, good. Just winds aloft, lots of difluence going on. It all looks good. So let's look for winds aloft again. Not bad. It looks a bit mixed up. Look at that photograph up there in the upper right. That looks like, a mishmash, a crumpled beer can, a Trump hairdo style kind of winds aloft. That's what I think of it. Let's look at some model data, all right? How many of you look at the HER? Raise your hand. Come on, admit it. Come on. How many of you religiously chase because of the HER? Raise your hand. Nobody, okay? Nobody. Yeah, it's because, I've heard Khan say this. Sometimes the HER can hurt you. Sometimes it can hurt you. But most of the time, it can hurt you. And that's what happened. But not today. Pretty good. Nice long track there going through east of Amarillo. That's what happened. Down by Childress, well, that didn't happen. And I didn't look at that until after the fact. All right, so here's the pros. Powerful upper low approaching the area with minus 28 C cold pool. Powerful jets at all levels. Surface dry line, western Texas panhandle. Ample moisture. Target Childress. But there was late timing, of course, after dark, early dark there. Capping version wasn't there. Fast-moving storms. Underlined that actually twice. All right, so here we are, 3 o'clock. Holy cow, look at this. I had to shift back to the further west because it was much more slowly evolving. The Cape was moving further to the west. The moisture was moving to the west. All right, so looking at the supercell composite, there we are. Yes, but there's no bullseye. It's just a gradient of higher, SCP moving north. Sig Tours, pretty messy. Again, if you're going to chase a bullseye, perhaps maybe San Antonio would be a good place. All right. Looking at the SRHs, again, no bullseye. Just kind of a gradient there in the eastern Texas panhandle. So bullseyes aren't always the answer. In fact, they rarely are the answer. I'd call it bullseitis. 0 to 6 kilometer shear. Coming in, late system, not too bad. All right, so here are what in the world? Oh, don't worry about that. That ain't nothing but a prairie dog. All right. Ain't nothing but a prairie dog. Don't be cruel. Don't be cruel. Don't be cruel. All right, tornado watch. Out. 1 o'clock, not bad. All right, so here I decided because of the fast-moving situation, my strategy is going to change. I'm going to get way out ahead of this thing and let the storms come to me. You don't have to be there for every little cloud moment. You can wait, and especially when you got Paladaro Canyon in your way, you don't want to be stuck on the south side of Paladaro Canyon, believe me. Well, a nice storm developed by Tulia. It's moving up to the north. I am going to move a little bit further to intercept, maybe back to the southwest. And then there's a second cell that develops at 5:05. Nice hook coming at me. Look at that. Good play. Let's zoom in. Well, I'm south of Goodnight. There's the hook. And here's what it looks like. Southwest view. Ragged lowering. Scud was almost at the surface coming on up. So there's a lot of it, a lot more than the Canadian. Big updraft, big clear slot. We're looking southwest, and it's coming towards me. So excellent. Nice little intercept going on here. It wraps up just briefly, has these little kind of tentacles extending from it, and we had our first tornado of the day, before dark, just before dark. It moved on up to the north, and we got a second brief tornado up towards Goodnight. But then we have this other cell coming in, which will be a player later on. 558. Now we're moved further up towards Groom. That's where we saw the second tornado, right about there. Got up to I-40. We can see now a nice large tornado to the north. It's now dark. It's being illuminated by lightning. And now we have beautiful Highway 70. So we get on Highway 70, and we are watching this tornado. Meanwhile, I am paying attention to what's happening in my southwest. But, you know, what are the odds of having two tornadoes on the ground from two supercells simultaneously? I mean, come on. Can that really happen? I'm going to stick with the one that brung me. So I'm going to go ahead and go north and follow this tornado as it's crossing Highway 70. It threw a lot of debris across. There were a couple of chasers ahead of me. They ran over telephone poles and destroyed their vehicles. I saw them there. And I just rolled down the window real quick and said, "Are you okay?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Good. I'm on the way. Keep on going." So I get up, and then, wait a minute now. What is going on? I'm getting a hook now to my southwest. So here I stop, and I'm in the forward flank downdraft. It's not raining very heavy. I can still see the tornado on the ground southeast of Pampa. But now I've also got a tornado to my southwest. And these tornadoes at night, they don't tap you on the shoulder and they say, "Hey, I'm a tornado." It was very quiet. You could just see full condensation to the ground, no noise. You're out there, I mean, among the crickets. That's it. Roger had this great shot. We watched it go through on the northwest side of the wind farm. Nice little debris ball there. So we had at this location a tornado to our northeast, a tornado to our southwest, and there's Pampa up there. And we watched this tornado come right up to us and then rope out, and a new tornado formed. We're going up towards Pampa. A new tornado formed just to the northeast. Pampa was really lucky this night. Absolutely. And we lost track of the other tornado up there. Those of you who went forward up on can tell me more about that. But we lost track of that one because we were watching this one here near Pampa. And of course, Roger has this phenomenal shot to die for, screensaver, that he has those tornadoes. So we watched that tornadic storm move northeast to hit the Halliburton plant, which I surveyed back in 1982. It got hit again in this time. Yeah, twice. Gives you a good idea. And Jeff, great job, buddy. Man, he followed it off the Cap Rock at night. All right, so I surveyed it in 1982, 2015, so that's your kind of average return period then of getting hit. If you want to build a house out there, you can expect it to be destroyed. All right, so here's the quick and dirty, the disturbance off the Rockies coming on in. Watch this on loop in here very nicely. Storm develops. More storms develop. The whole thing fills on in and back to Dallas. So the Amarillo Weather Service had put out this, and it was like 17 tornadoes out of this system. A couple of different storms. Okay, now that's what I like. Okay, so here's the summary. So it was a great day to sit on the dry line. I wasted a whole hour just, sitting by the side of the road. Clarendon, Texas. I shifted my target from Childress to Clarendon. I waited for storms to develop, of course, right on the edge of the Cap Rock, and then after dark, followed them. 2 of them produced the long track tornadoes that I saw, 4 between Groom and Pampa alone. And, of course, it's time for Storm Chase Jeopardy. Now, this one is really difficult. If you all get this, it's almost like winning the Powerball, okay? This is Elvis for 300. The answer is Priscilla. That is the answer. What is the question? What did you call a fully hybrid electric vehicle in Amarillo? A Priuscilla. Priuscilla. Okay. All right. Folks, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Roger. Tim Samaras also helped. Appreciate that. Pick up my new album, Elvis Lives Again. Enjoy ChaserCon. Elvis lives. Any questions? Any answers? Play Storm Chaser Jeopardy. All right. I guess everybody's ready to go to the car show or something, huh?